Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video you have with me. Again, I am Sakiyna Jones, and today's video is going to be actually a little bit different. So this one's going to be an interview. I had the opportunity to interview a very special person named Elle. Elle was a survivor of a country music festival called Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas in 2017, where there was a mass shooting. And during this time, unfortunately, Elle ended up being a victim and was shot in the back of the head and rushed to the hospital by some amazing people that attended the festival, and suffered a brain injury. So during this interview, I had a great conversation with her about the incident and about how her life is now and how it's impacted, and also how her faith with God has strengthened since this actual incident that happened. So I will do no more talking and we'll get right into the video. Okay, so hi Elle, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing so good. So just want to say thank you so much for coming on my little platform to tell your story. This means a lot to me, and I'm sure the viewers to see that.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So first, just want to give an introduction about yourself. Just tell the viewers a little bit about you before we dive right in.
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Elle. I am a small business owner. I live in Orange County, California, and I think we're here to talk about mental health and some of the things that I've been through personally, and maybe you as well.
So, something that I know that you have struggled with was from a brain injury
Yeah.
and dealt with a PTSD and anxiety.
Yes.
Like, okay. So, your anxiety, did it come from your brain injury or did you have that before dealing with that?
Yeah. So I could actually talk about what happened, my story, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to go into too much detail because I know it can be a sensitive topic for people. But I was, it was in October 1st, 2017. I was at the Route 91 Country Music Festival in Las Vegas and actually ended up being shot in the back of the head. So I had a, a brain injury, obviously, from that. I ended up having 3 brain surgeries and uh, have just been recovering ever since at home and inward and outward. I've just been focusing on my recovery. So, luckily, now I'm in a place where I feel like I have learned a lot through therapy and things that I've been researching on my own. And I've been trying to create a platform to share that with people and provide resources. So, that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah. So I love your page because you have so many great resources and you share so much information on it. I feel like people are really touched by it. First, is it triggering for you to talk about it or to
No,
direct?
it is
Okay.
not. And if I start feeling uncomfortable, I'll just let you know.
Okay. So to go back to that incident, you said you were in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And then you were shot there. During that moment, or was it a situation where you woke up? Did you like kind of know what was happening while you were going through that, or you just kind of woke up in a hospital, or like how was that for you?
Yeah, actually, it's really crazy. When I tell people this, I feel like they're almost like, what? But I remember everything. I pretty soon after we realized what was going on, I was struck in the back of the head. I was almost immediately after the shooting began, and I kind of lost. I guess I kind of stumbled over and lost my vision a little bit. It kind of just looked like a blurry filter. I could still see, but it was kind of like if you were really drunk and it was just a little blurry. So that I was able to kind of come to get myself together, and I realized that I was alive. And I reached out to my friend I was with, and I told her that I had been hurt and we needed to get out of there. So luckily, with the help of tons of random strangers, we were able to get out of the venue alive. Um, Another car of random strangers pulled up and offered to take me to the hospital because I was injured. And I remember getting into the car, and that's the last thing I remember. Is just being in the car and being on people's lap in the back seat.
Yeah, it's so crazy how our brain remembers only certain pieces of that. So when you woke up from there and you first got the news that, and I'm assuming you didn't know you were shot in, or the area you were shot in yet until you probably went into the hospital and everything, correct?
Right.
So what were some, first, did the doctors ever like think you were going to come back and survive through this?
So it was very touch and go for a while. It was not touch and go. It was unknown. They always say, like with brain injuries, it's hard to know until the person wakes up, even what damage has been caused and where. So I was in a medically induced coma for 3 days, and then so in that time they would wake me up off and on, and I actually do have some memories from that. But most of that was very confusing because I was on tons of different medications and pain meds and just very confused state. But when I actually did wake up and kind of was putting things together and realized what happened, people had told me, I mean, I was there. There's no words. I was shocked. My whole world was changed. But really, in the moment, I was just happy to be alive. I didn't really care about anything. I just thought, I'm alive, and I should just be happy.
Yeah. And so after you heard that, a lot of things you said, did you feel like I'm gonna feel normal again? My life is gonna get back to normal again when you're in that. One thing about me is I think so much of people in the I don't know why I always think of people in the hospital, and I never take it for granted that we're out here doing what we want to do every day. And it's like, do you ever feel like hope at that moment? Like, you know what, I'm gonna get through this, and I'm gonna have my a normal life again.
Oh yeah, in that time period when I was first in the hospital, I spent about a week in the ICU, and then I think 2 weeks in the rehab floor, doing occupational and physical therapy. And at first, I was getting better at a very, very fast pace for the kind of injury I had. The bullet fractured my skull. I have a synthetic skull on the right side of my head. So then there's still bullet fragments in my brain to this day. So it was a very, very serious injury. For that injury, I did get better remarkably fast. I don't know if it was just my body and my youth, or just because I'm pretty healthy. Either way, I'm super blessed. But at that time, I was getting better so fast every day. I had so much hope, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to work when I'm out of here. I'm just gonna go back to work and just be normal and be like my normal self. And that's really what I thought. I really, really, truly thought that.
And I mean, but like you said, I think it's beauty to find the lightness in so much darkness. Like, that's something that once you can find that light, it's no going back.
Oh yeah. Well, there were so many points of light during that really, really dark time. Just when I look back, I think about all of the hospital staff that worked with me. I was so enamored by all of them. I was like, wow, these people help people get better for a living. I was just like, wow, what am I doing with my life compared to these people at the time? And just even when I look back at the shooting itself, this is something I reflect on a lot. In the moment when it's the most terrifying moment of your life, and you would think it would be everybody out for themselves, save yourself, I can tell you, random strangers helped me and my friend and helped each other. And that's something I think about all the time, is I would have never got out of there alive if it weren't for random strangers that helped carry me and help me walk and run out. So
makes you really understand what life is really about.
Yeah.
And about humanity. So I want to get more into the anxiety and the PTSD, because obviously when you go through such a traumatic experience, that's when you start to feel anxiety. Now, when did you know, or what are some things you start to feel when you knew something else was going on, or you start feeling anxiety?
Yeah. So actually, before my injury, I really had no concept of mental health, anxiety, depression, PTSD, only like the basic level of knowledge, I feel like what people know. or if you don't experience it yourself or know somebody personally. So I really didn't think I was going to have any problems. I seriously thought, I'm not going to have PTSD. Like, I'm totally fine. I'm alive. I'm getting better every day. Like, no problems. It was probably a couple months after I'd gotten home to California. I just started, it would happen every night. I would get ready for bed, brush my teeth, wash my face, get into my PJs, and the second my head would hit the pillow, I would just be flooded with this feeling of anxiety that I didn't know was anxiety at the time. It felt like my chest had a ton of bricks on them, and like it was really hard to breathe, and I couldn't sleep. And that was almost every night for a little while. And then I realized, something's not right. I don't really understand what this is. So that's when I went to ask for help and get help with that. And then they told me, that's anxiety. And I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea. Then as time went on and I started feeling a bit better, and like I could go out and about in the world a bit more, see friends, go out to restaurants and things like that, I started noticing some other things come up. I started realizing that I had a lot of thoughts going on when I was at public places. I would think, oh, what's the best seat to sit at this table so I can see the exit in case something bad happens. It's small thoughts like that, things that I still do today sometimes that I have to actually force myself to rethink. Like, I tend not to I used to only wear sandals. That was my favorite type of shoe to wear. And now I pretty much, if I'm going somewhere, like to wear closed-toed shoes because I feel like if something happens, I might need to get away quick. So it's just very small things like that I started noticing were negative thoughts that were affecting me and the way that I was living and perceiving the world. And so that's kind of how it started. And I started sharing those things with my therapist. I had a therapist right when I got home to California from Vegas. I got set up with a therapist who has been tremendous. I would not be where I am today without going to therapy. That's for sure. So that's kind of how I started noticing anxiety was creeping in. And then I actually started having panic attacks, which I also didn't know what that was until I started having them. Once I started getting comfortable enough to go places on my own, I would drive short distances and try to get out of the house and do things. One day I was at the mall. It's this really big mall by my house, really close by, but so it was no big deal to drive to. But when I got there, I realized I just felt very overwhelmed and almost like I would get this feeling like I was outside of myself. Like I was going through the motions. I could, it was almost like I was an outside observer of myself. And it's just a very strange feeling, but a lot of people actually experience it after going through trauma or with PTSD. It's just this kind of sense like you're outside of your body and you're looking down on yourself. And I know I'm shopping and I'm doing all these things, but it doesn't really feel like I'm there. And so there's this like disassociation, this disconnect between, yeah. And so I started realizing I was having that. And then when I would walk around the mall, I would be sweating the whole time. And I'm not a sweater. Like prior to my injury, I would realize, oh my gosh, I've been sweating this entire time. I would walk around and then just try to push through, keep shopping, do what I would normally do, and try to enjoy myself like I normally would. And then I would just feel like I have to leave or I'm gonna pass out. I eventually felt like I was so exhausted, like from going to 2 stores, that I'm gonna pass out. So I was like, there's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong.
And I think we're focused so much on the physical body as being tired and not the mental body as being, or the mental brain, the brain to be tired. And I want to talk a little bit about this association because it's real. And it's when you fit for views, it's when you feel like you're here, but you're not here. Like your brain and your mind is somewhere else. You feel like you're in a different world. Like everything around you just feels like, I don't know, like I can't explain it, but
morphed. I think it feels morphed, like
because I experienced that as well, and it's like something is going on. I need to figure it out right now. Your support system, because I have so many theories, but I believe that if you go through something mentally without a support system, it's destruction. It's like you need a support system. So tell me a little bit about that, your support system, and how it benefited you in getting to where you are now.
Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying. I think a support system is key. And not only a support system as in your family and friends, right? If you don't have that, that's okay. There are other types of support available for you. And that's something that, my family and friends are all very supportive of me going to therapy. They'll all listen to me and they'll all hear my feelings. But there's still not a disconnect, a level of misunderstanding still, or a level of there's still a lack of understanding there about what is really going on. So your family and friends can support you and say, oh, that's so horrible, I hope you get better. But do they have tools and resources and things that can help you? No, not really, besides just saying, oh, I'm so sorry, that sucks for you.
Yeah.
So really, I have a great support system. I'm very blessed, but I would say the best thing for you to do is build your team of people of support around you, whether that's your family that you are close with and your friends, or if that's mental health professionals.
Oh yeah. I think support system every day is like having, like you said, having that strong support system of people in your life every day is so important.
Or even on sometimes I think people believe that resources aren't available to them.
Yes.
But or that they don't know where to look. But really what I found, which is so awesome about the internet now, especially our social media platforms, there are so many therapists, people like me that have been through things, that are sharing about their own experiences, that want to help people through their similar traumas and experiences. So there are so many free tools, people, resources, creators out there that you can look up and start there. Just start at home on your couch on your iPhone.
And you have YouTube. People tell their stories all the time on YouTube. Like you said, I mean, you can hashtag any kind of thing you're going through, and you're gonna see people that go through the same exact thing. You have Facebook, which I was joined so many groups when I was going through it last year, and just to get resources, like you said. So it's a lot of free resources also, and I know people like to pinpoint money when it comes to getting help, and obviously you do need certain things that cost money for it too, but utilize the free resources. Would you say, you don't have to share this, but would you say that you feel like you know your purpose, your life purpose?
I think I know my life purpose, but I don't know if that is going to be what it is. But yeah, after I got injured, I was, like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to get better. I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to just continue on with my life. And I had, up to that point, done everything right. I had went to graduate from college, got my first job, and I was going to climb the corporate ladder and do that. After my injury, though, I was like, wow, I didn't even know where to start. Once I got over the first, the idea that I'm going to go back to work and just be normal and be myself again. Once I realized, okay, you're not the same.
Yeah.
You don't work the same. We need time at home to figure out what's going on up here in your head, what's going on in here with your feelings. Let's take a break on getting back to that corporate world and let's evaluate what we really want. So that's really what I did. For the first time in my life, I know, I don't know if everyone that listens to this will be religious, but for the first time in my life, I thought, instead of what do I want and what does God want from me? What would God want me to do? And I thought, there has to be something I can do with this.
So I'm going to get into that. So answer me this question before. So now that you know, or maybe not know your overall purpose, but know the route you want to go, Do you ever feel a sense of like relief or a sense of like feeling good about life, knowing that now you know your reason and what you're here to do, in a sense? Versus before, do you ever like see a difference between before the situation that happened, where I was going with my life, versus now?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So before I was A+ student, I tried to be the best worker, hardest worker I could. I would stay late and just try to be the best. And that was I was very money driven and very motivated by work and feeling accomplished. So when I was injured and all of that went away, I started having this kind of like almost like a loss of identity. I didn't know who I was. I still sometimes feel that way, like this new person that I am, because I identified so much with all of those values and things. And then afterward, I realized there's more to life than working 9 to 5, all your whole life. That's all you do. I don't want that for my life. So I started thinking, what could I do from home? There are so many amazing people online now creating and making money, making their own businesses, and I thought I could do that too. There's no reason why I can't do that. So that totally shifted my perspective about what I wanted in life. I could care less about making tons of money. I would rather just do something that I really love every day and not and I know that that's sometimes can be a luxury. Not everybody has that option, but I do believe everybody has the option to choose what they love. Whether even if you're stuck in a job you don't love at the moment, I think there's always time to be thinking about what you could be doing or what you would want to do.
I'm a strong believer in God, 1,000%. Did you have the same faith you had after your incident, before your incident, or did it kind of like prove to you after your incident?
Um, I think it not proved to, I guess proved to me after my incident. I guess you could say that. Growing up, I had gone to Christian schools and Catholic schools. So I had always had that religious aspect in my life, but I felt like I was kind of just always going through the motions with it. I didn't really feel super connected on a deep level, personally, until after my injury. I mean, it just hits you in the head at that point when you're not supposed to be there, when you could have just been gone. At age, I was 23 at the time, so I could have been off the face of the earth at age 23.
Oh, you said something on your Instagram, which I love. And it's people who need help sometimes look a lot like people who don't need help. The biggest misconception in, well, let me ask you that first. So why do you think that it is that way?
I think we hide it. I think we want to, I do it too. Even now, even talking about it, opening it up, I don't share everything on my Instagram that I'm going through on a daily basis. There's still a part of me that wants to be the bubbly, fun, carefree girl that I was before, and that all my friends know and love and want to be around. There's a part of me that doesn't want to be a burden or feel like a burden by sharing, or when you're in a social situation, you don't necessarily want to bring the mood down if you're feeling a certain way, so you just kind of act. And it's the faking it till you make it, I think, is really what is the problem. So I've been trying lately to not do that. I've been trying to pause for a second and evaluate my actual feelings, and then think, is there a way I can share that with this person that I'm with so that it's not awkward or they don't feel uncomfortable, and then I don't have to sit there in uncomfortable silence. So I think finding a way to speak up for your needs is important.
Do you ever feel a regret? Like, do you ever find yourself saying, I wish I never went through this? I wish I could wind time back?
No, I don't regret. I actually, of course, there have been times, and there are times still, that I think in the moment when I'm really frustrated, why did this happen? I wish I never went. or why did I have to go? But at the end of the day, it happened, and I have learned so much from it. And I truly have my eyes have been open to this whole world that I had never known about mental health. And it, I realize now that there are people struggling every single day. Yeah. There is trauma, and there is horrible things that happen every single day in this world. And we can't just sit by and ignore that anymore. We can't sit by and put a happy smile on and fake it forever, because there's a point that we reach where we can't fake it anymore. With all of that being said, I don't regret it, because it has taught me so much. Yeah. And it's got me into therapy, which I don't only talk about my injury at therapy anymore. You know, there's been so many other topics that have come up and that I've just learned about myself and my upbringing and the way that I view the world because of that. And there's just so many other parts of it that have made me a better person.
Do you feel that with mental health, you can ever get to a point in life where you have no mental health issues ever? You completely mental health free? Or do you feel like, no, it's going to, follow you for the rest of your life? You have to find ways to kind of just like deal with it and cope with it.
Yeah, I think I agree with the second one. I don't think that this is something that will just go away. I don't. So there's a book that I read or am still reading called The Body Keeps the Score. Mm-hmm. And it's basically just explains that anything that happens to us in our lives, our bodies remember, even if our brains forget it. So I can mentally work through this trauma. I can go to therapy. I can get medication and help, but my body still knows what it went through, and it's not going to forget that. So I think it's about finding ways to cope. It's about finding ways to be comfortable now in your new, figuring out what's going on with yourself. And yeah, I don't think it's something that will just go away, because when something happens to you like that, it's never going to go away.
Anything else that you want to share? Oh, no, we didn't get into this. Okay, so your brand, during the pandemic, you started a clothing line, and it inspired from your incident, and inspired you to start this clothing line. So tell us a bit about it. I love your pieces; they're so comfy. Tell us about it and where we can find it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually wearing one of our pieces right now. This is our Northern Lights hoodie. I hand make all of them. So I started Brave the Label last summer during the pandemic. I started, I was bored at home like everybody else, and I saw how tie-dye was taking off. And it was at that point too where I was at a point in my injury recovery that I felt, okay, it's been about 3 years. I feel like I could maybe start doing something, but it needs to be something I could control. So it needs to be in a place, an environment that I feel comfortable, and it needs to be at the pace that is comfortable for me. So I thought starting my own business would be good, because then I could control everything. So that's what I decided to do. And it started out as just tie-dye things I was making. And then I always knew, which is why I decided to call it Brave the Label instead of like tie-dye by Elle or something. I always knew, okay, I think this can be something else, but I wasn't sure exactly what it would become. But so right now we sell hoodies and sweatshirts, sweatpants that I tie-dye myself. But I'm really excited because I've been working on our next collection, and it's going to be combining more of my story and the mental health things that I talk about on my personal Instagram and my personal story, and kind of merging that with my brand. So I'm really excited. That's going to come out not until next year, but it's in the works.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that and starting a business, especially during the pandemic. That was hard to do, I'm sure, and a lot also. Right. And my last question I want to ask is, how are you?
Oh, thank you. To be perfectly honest, I'm okay. Things have been pretty difficult the last couple weeks. I have been feeling pretty down and just kind of haven't really felt like myself. And I took a little bit of a break from social media, and I'm trying to get back into it. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying not to be hard on myself. Like, whatever I'm feeling, that's okay. If I'm feeling a little down today. That's all right. I'll do what I can. And that's just kind of where I'm at with myself.
Yeah. Hope you get better. I know you'll feel better.
Thank you.
But I just want to say also, thank you so much for coming on the series. I genuinely appreciate it so much. You are like you're my first conversation, the first person I reached out to, and first person we're filming now. So I'm glad we're able to get to this point. Your story is so powerful. I hope that you touch so many people with it. I know so many people need to hear it. And yeah, thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. Seriously, this has been great. I've been so excited, and I've been wanting to do more things like this. So thank you for inviting me. I think you found me on first, right?
I did.
Yeah.
And I found you because I like that you're so open with it on social media. You know, social media is that place where we never tell our lives, but I appreciate people that are on social media in front of random people telling about your story. So I think that's why I definitely reached out. So
thank you. I'm not doing enough of it. Like I'm still figuring it out. But I'm doing what I can.
You're on the right track. You're on the right track.
Well, thank you so
Ellie,
much.
hopefully it's not the last time that we'll talk. So I'll definitely be staying in touch for sure. And yeah, have a good day.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, bye.